Hello, my Teaserking family. The internet connection was broken or bad, and I don't know. And sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. We will see. Anyway, I will give Prophet Eli, Luke a minute to come back on. Just a second. So Daria had some tests and things like that. All right. Yeah, it's sorry, Luke. It's been doing that where it kind of goes all of a sudden says your connections you've been disconnected. We're trying to reconnect you. So this is a YouTube thing, not an internet thing, because I didn't lose the internet, but it's a YouTube connection. So I don't know what to do about it. It's not like I can plug in a connection and not lose it, but it's just YouTube. YouTube, sometimes when I try to come to here, it says, "Up, try again," or I don't get the audio. So it's a lot of screw up from YouTube a lot. But so I come back. Hey, Professor, how far are you from Toledo? I might have some business up there in the next few. An hour. I mean, I can drive it easy. Yeah, that'd be great. Although I don't know if they have a Capitol Grill there, but we can try it out and see. Um, I know Cleveland's like 4 hours and Cincinnati's 4 hours. There is a casino in Toledo. So yeah, that'd be great. Let me know. And yeah, it's just an hour. It's no big deal. But anyway, so you're not wrong about Bitcoin. To put it this way, let's do this. So let's pretend here. I'll give you this Muriel Lemieux rookie. So let's pretend you bought this instead, and it's now $100,000, which I don't think it is. But let's say it's a PSA 10. It's really nicely centered. I don't know what it's at. I can't find a PSA 10 of this, but let's say it's 100,000. Would you sell it, or would you hold it? Would you sell it and buy gold, or would you just keep it and say it's worth 100? It's going to two. It's fucking Muriel Lemieux. It's Wayne Gretzky. It's Bobby Orr. And that is the dilemma of everything. The difference is I have this. This is backed by the card, right? This is what it is, right? This is the card. There's the Lemieux. So you can see it and touch it and hold it. I can put it in my safe. I can get it graded and okay, let's say it's a 10. I have the card though. Bitcoin, you don't have anything. This is the point I keep trying to make. What is Bitcoin? It's an error. So it's like saying, well, I have a digital Muriel Lemieux card. Well, let me see it. Well, I can't. It's digital. this is real and it's, just needs to be graded, but it fucking looks like a 10 to me. All right, I got to get it graded. Could be a 9. But the point is, how is this valued? This is valued supply and demand. This is based on you being in Pittsburgh saying, boy, I love a Mario Lemieux card. I will give you 100,000 for it. And somebody else on eBay bids 105,000, and then somebody else bids 110, and now it's 110. How did it get the value? People bid on it. Is that what's happening in Bitcoin? I don't believe so. I believe it's controlled by Larry Fink, and basically he just does derivatives on it or algorithms. This isn't priced by algorithms. This is me selling it and you buying it. This is a real price. But in Bitcoin world, we don't know how it has its value, and we don't know how it could possibly be worth that much. You can't use the money argument because it's not money, because you can't go fly to Italy with it. You can't get a hotel in Italy. You can't go to Kroger's with it. So there's a lot of problems with Bitcoin that, to me, the difference between this and Bitcoin is very little. They're both collectibles, but everybody's bidding up on Bitcoin because they see it going up. And then your question is, well, why not gold and silver? Because this is a free market in eBay where I can sell it and you can buy it. That's not what happens with gold and silver. Gold and silver, as you know, are options by JP Morgan, who was pushing the price down, pushing it up, down and up. As you see today, it was up at 33.40, then it was down to 32.80, and then back to 33.10. Why? Nobody is selling. It's just done by options. So first you got to understand the concept. It's done by options. This is not done by options. So in this world, the price is going to be based on what the price is based on, what the market says. But gold and silver is not what the market says. Bitcoin, we don't know what the market says, because you're not, who's paying 111,000 for Bitcoin. All you see is the price go up, but nobody's buying it. I'd rather have $111,000 worth of gold, as I've told you, and that's why you bought gold. Once you own this card, you can't lose. It's not going down. Let's say this card's 100,000, like the Montana rookie. It's not going down. Now, when the dollar goes out, it'll go to zero in dollars, but then it'll get repriced in gold. And it'll be 10,000 in gold, which will be more than the 100,000 in dollars. But will Bitcoin be priced in gold? If you have gold, would you buy Bitcoin? Absolutely not. There's no way. Oh, well, it's going to go to 200,000. Based on what? You have no idea. This is based on people wanting it, going, it's Mario Lemieux, it's Wayne Gretzky, it's Bobby Orr, it's Jerry West, it's Kareem, it's Wilt. That makes sense. And then whatever the market says. But if Bitcoin was at the market, I'd still not want it because it isn't real. You cannot see or touch Bitcoin. This is the problem with it. And to say it's money is not true, because you can't use it to fly to Italy, right? So this is the problem. But yeah, it'd be nice to see you in Toledo. I can drive an hour. Just let me know when and where, and I will be there. And we'll find some restaurant. They must have restaurants in Toledo. He's your favorite player? Mine was Bobby Orr, but I do like. That's why I pulled Lemieux. I was going to pull out this card, but you're from Pittsburgh, so I kept it Pittsburgh. I got a lot of Jaeger rookies too, but there are too many out there. Luke, Bitcoin is a weird concept. However, it's been taking the place of what gold does, or what it should do. The price fluctuates with the decreasing dollar and all other currencies. Well, granted, but gold is physical. Gold is limited. There's 200,000 tons and that's it. And it's already out. But when the euro crashes, when this goes to zero and the US dollar goes to zero and the British pound goes to zero and the Canadian dollar goes to zero, when all this is going to zero, where are you going to go? You're going to go buy Bitcoin, but what's the value of Bitcoin? Zero. Because it's priced in dollars, but it's not backed by anything. I'm going to go into gold because gold's real and I have it, and the gold price, I mean, the gold price will make Bitcoin look like chopped liver. I mean, it could easily go to 100,000 or more if they got their hands off of it, because China's got 60,000 tons. So let's say you had 60,000 tons, you want the price to go up. You're not price fixing it anymore. You're saying go. And the US realizes if they let like silver go, well, if they let silver go, eight bullion banks go out of business. They have all these derivatives that are shorting it and they can't pay it off. That's why you see it not go to 35. That's why, not the market. In a free market, silver would be $1,000 by now, right? But in a comex market, that's why July 1st is a key date. Silver goes Basel 3. They'll have to cover. So when you buy the other end of the short, so as I showed you trading places, they're shorting silver, then there's got to be a buyer and you got to buy it. And they ask for delivery of the silver, which they won't be able to get because it's all gone. So the US is going to have to go out into the physical world and buy it to cover the delivery that China and Russia and India and Saudi Arabia want, Brazil, all the BRICS countries. Why are they buying gold? So answer your own question. Why are they buying gold and not buying Bitcoin? Because it's not real. If anybody, China and Russia would buy Bitcoin if they thought it was real, right? I mean, who's a bigger crook than Putin and Xi? They would be buying it. But what did they do? They buy gold and silver. So don't listen to me. Just look what they're doing. You can't even buy Bitcoin in China. You got to buy gold. Nobody's in the stock market and nobody's in real estate since they bankrupt everybody who was in real estate because the whole Evergrande thing. And then there was another housing company that went broke. So you're not buying a house in China. A lot of people are leaving China, going to Vietnam or other areas that actually make things. The factories are moving out. These tariffs. So Trump's killing China, but oh wait, the ace in the hole, they got 60,000 tons of gold. And you can't touch that because we have zero. I know, Luke, you think we have some. It could be, but it's not ours. So if they actually went into Fort Knox, and what are they waiting for, by the way? They said that, well, was it February? They're going to audit it, and now we're in June or May, and they're not auditing it because there's nothing to audit. They can't show there's nothing there, so they won't ever audit it. That's why they don't. And we really can't buy it. Maybe we're buying it. We don't have money because you know what? We're spending it all on defense. We got a $1 trillion interest on our $37 trillion in debt. So why would you be excited that Bitcoin's in dollars with 37 trillion in debt and massive inflation, which is printing of the money? That's worthless. So why do you want to hold anything in dollars? Right? This is the problem. So this girl I'm talking to, oh, I got this, and I got, she's telling me how much money she has. I go, but it's worthless. It's monopoly money. You don't have anything. And she thinks because she has $1 million that she's got money. And I go, you don't have anything. It's monopoly money. And that concept, this girl cannot understand. She can't understand that. And I go, well, take a look at Rome. Why did the Romans collapse? Oh yeah, because they inflated their money to zero because they took their gold and silver out. Oh yeah, why did the French die and the Spanish die? Oh yeah, because they inflated their money to zero, and without money, you're broke. That's the whole concept you must understand. Even if Bitcoin goes to 200,000. So let's say, Luke, you held your Bitcoin. You said, "Oh, come on, professor, I'm gonna hold it." I'm thinking long term, right? In the long term, gold's going to go $20,000-$30,000, and then you're going to be happy that you sold it. Right now, you still should be happy. You probably bought it about 2,600. It's 3,300, on its way to 4,500, on its way to 10,000. Basel 3 is coming into U.S. It's going to jack the price, and basically the gold's pretty much gone. All the central banks and BRICS, and now there's 40 countries are buying gold, pushing the price up. And the US can hold it down so long. And then there's a China exchange, a Russia exchange, and a Dubai physical gold, silver, diamond exchanges that are already out there. and they're the ones who are going to price it. They're the ones with the gold, and the price is going to be very expensive. So look long term, Luke. Don't look short. Like when I bought this card was probably $100. I wouldn't have paid back when I got this in the 90s. We collected cards like in 1990. I got married in 1990, and my ex got us into cards, but I wanted to get us into gold. And it was just, we never paid more than 100 for a card. That's why I didn't get the Jordan rookie. Not that I saw it in mint condition, but we didn't pay more for them. When I show you the Mantle card, I might have paid 200. That's it. Maybe on 150. That's it. So you basically, now did I ever think this, let's say this card, I don't know what it is. Let's say it's 50,000. Did I think it would go to 50? No. I was just collecting the raw. I thought it was a good card to have. I like Lemieux. It's a rookie card. I paid, let's say 100, 150 for it. And if it's worth 50 grand now, then I'm like, oh, I didn't expect it to be. That's where gold's at now. So you buy the gold like you're buying the Lemieux card. You just are buying to have it. And you know it's going to go up. And you know it's price fixed by JP Morgan and the derivatives. You know the options are up and down, up and down. They're just playing an option game. So when it gets really high, they short it. And then when it hits a point, they go and buy it back. And it's just a game they're playing. Meanwhile, it's not anything to do with physical gold. And they're keeping the price down. So you buy Bitcoin. So think about it. It sounds like a trap. Sounds like a Madoff. We want everybody in Bitcoin. We don't want anybody in gold and silver because we can't track it, but we can track the gold. Eli made a comment, quantum computers. I don't know what that is, but so I guess so they can track everybody, I assume. When do you think the free market has come for gold and silver? We'll have a gold-backed currency. Well, that's what July 1st is. It's when we go Basel III, which means when China says, I want to take delivery of the silver. Right now they're doing it, and they're not giving them the delivery because they don't have to. Basel III forces them to cover it. That's why gold's shooting up, because they have to pay the gold off. And so now we got to pay the gold and the silver when you take delivery on comex. Why are they using comex? Because the price of comex is much cheaper than the real market. So in China, if you wanted to buy gold in China, it's probably 4,000 at the China exchange or whatever. But I can get it on comex for 3,300. So I'm going to buy it from comex. But comex isn't really where you buy it at. It's a price fixing mechanism that they did in the 70s because they wanted to keep the price of gold under, at a certain level for some reason. I don't know why. It should not be price fixed. It should be just like the Lemieux card. This is free market. Why isn't gold free market? But you must understand this is free market, but gold isn't. That's why this is $30,000 and gold's $3,000. And you got to go, well, that doesn't make sense. I don't know what the price is. I'm just throwing out numbers, but let's say 30,000. Oh, if this is 30,000, why isn't gold 30,000? It's obviously more demand for gold and obviously much more limited, but that's what it is. So with that knowledge, July 1st comes and it's Basel III, which means you've got to have more gold and silver, and you got to pay off when the people want to take delivery. So you can do the option where you just get credit or you take the delivery of the gold and silver. Well, since everybody wants to buy it because it's cheaper on comex, they want to take delivery, which means the buyer of the short has to pay the buyer of the long, and they don't have it. Now they're going to have to get it now. See, July 1st, they're going to have to pay it off, and they don't have it, and it's not available, and it's very limited right now because all the central banks are eating it up. And believe me, they're eating up silver too. Saudi's eating up silver, India's eating up silver, and China for the solar panels and stuff like that. But now it's also money, and it's more important it's money than it is solar panels. The Tomahawk weapons, I'm sure they can find something else, or they're just going to pay more for it. The government, they don't care what they pay for things. So that's what's going to happen. So July 1st, circle that date, July 17th, the BRICS meet in Brazil, and they already have the gold-backed currency out. China's already using it and already trading in it. Russia's doing the gold-backed ruble, and they are getting that. I think it's already out or coming out. So yes, the gold-backed currency is out. It's not maybe anymore. And a lot of it is Trump and his tariffs. Well, you're leaving Russia. They can't go on SWIFT. China's getting all these sanctions. So they both say, fuck you. We'll just use gold. We don't care about your sanctions. We don't care about your money. We don't want to use US dollars because they're worthless. That's the whole point. That's the concept that you guys got to understand. This has no value. This is worth nothing. This is worth a penny. So as your friend with the $4 million in his 401k, it's not worth anything. It's 4 million, okay, of these, but the value of those are not. 4 million is nothing. That's why there's all these billionaires, and even that's like a million. I mean, what a millionaire used to be, but it's worthless. It's a phony number. It's a Madoff. It's a Ponzi scheme. The dollars are worthless, but most people can't understand that or figure that out. Most people have no concept that the dollar is worthless. Oh, it says 100 on it. That's worth $100. True, it's worth $100. What's $100 buy you? 5 items at the grocery store. Go put a steak and a chicken in your groceries, and there goes your 100. That's the problem with it, right? You're paying $20 for a steak's like 15. So you buy 2 steaks, or you buy 2 pounds of steak. That's $30 right there. Chicken's like $5 a pound now. So you buy steak and chicken, and maybe you get the Kent's French dressing, and I get my pita bread $4 now for fucking 8 slices of pita bread. So there you go. I mean, I can't get out of that store for under $50 if I just buy 2 steaks and a chicken. It's $50. So how much is my $50 worth? 2 steaks and a chicken. Not a lot. So yeah, $4 million sounds like, but it's not worth anything. That's why you want to move your money out of dollars into gold. That's my Titanic example. The ship sinking, the dollar's sinking. The dollar is like, here's the water and here's the boat, right? So you get into a lifeboat, and that's what I'm saying is the dollar's worthless. Everything in the dollar, your stocks, your bonds in the bank, your Bitcoin, your annuity is worthless. And if they will take it, the bank will take it. If you keep your money in the bank, they're going to bail in on you. Now, why this will go to zero also, but the people with the gold-backed currency will want this because it's demanded. They'll want Bobby Orr, they'll want Mickey Mantle because they're still will be valued. They'll still want a Rolex. They'll still want your Mercedes, your house. It just gets priced in gold, but everything priced in dollars goes to zero. So the question with Bitcoin is, will the people with the gold want the Bitcoin? And I can't imagine why anybody would. Larry Fink and Michael Saylor, because they're leading the Ponzi scheme. Anything to do with Larry Fink and the Russian mafia, you really want to be with. So yes, Luke, yes, it's 110, 111 today. And that's great. But you don't know is why. It's not free market. So how do you know what the value of a Bitcoin is? Now, are people realizing the inflation, realizing the tariffs? They're not dumping the stocks because the stocks are still 42,000, or maybe they are dumping it and the US is just feeding it to keep the price up. This I don't know. I know the US prints money and puts it into the stocks. That's where Pelosi and Biden and all these government officials made money because they knew before that they were going to put their money in Amazon. So they bought Amazon and then they shoved all this money in that they printed. So it's not even the market dictating Bitcoin or the stocks. Stocks are not free market. There's algorithms and there's them printing money. So there's a lot of bullshit going on. And that's why gold you can't fuck with. That's why we want gold and silver. You can't print it. You can't counterfeit it. It is physical. You have it in your hand. That's what it is. You have the Lemieux in your hand. That's what it is. So that's the point of it. So yes, you can get excited about Bitcoin, but when are you planning on selling it? You made money on it, so I think you'd be fine with it. What is the problem with that? So you can make money with the Bitcoin. I'm not. So you can make money with stocks. You can make money with the Lemieux card. It's at what point do you get rid of it? At what point do you take the profit? And that's where people have no idea about Bitcoin. It's 111. Okay, I buy it. So you're really going to spend 111 and buy a Bitcoin. And when are you selling it? You don't know when you're going to sell it. That's the problem too. It depends when I bought it. So normally, if I bought Bitcoin at 10,000, when it hits 20,000, I'm selling it. If I can double my money, I'm selling it. And then maybe I get back into it or not. I don't know. I was offered Bitcoin. I said, "What's it? What is it? I don't know. What's it backed by? Nothing. No, thank you." And that was probably a couple thousand at a poker game in Caesars. And that was it. And I don't care. I don't look at the price. I don't care about it. I look at gold and silver, but I don't look at Bitcoin. I don't even look at the baseball cards except for like reporting in class, realizing, oh shit, Montana's 110,000. I was in a coin store when I first started collecting gold. Um, the guy, I think I asked him about baseball, or he had a baseball card. He had I believe it was a Sandy Koufax 1950 something, but it was not in good condition. And I said, well, it's probably a PSA 5 or 6. Still would get a hefty sum. So again, it's who and how many. That's what creates the market. And so then I started looking, and I said, well, Jerry Rice's rookie card's 110,000, and Joe Montana. And then I started to realize that the card market has been quietly misled that, oh, well, this card's worth $100. Not if it's a PSA 10. So that was the point. What grade is it? And that's what I always bought. So when I bought this and when I bought this, I was very careful on it should be sharp corners and fairly good centered and no stains. And once I got to those, then I would buy it. And I'd buy it cheap because it would be in Beckett PSA 8s. And I'd talk the guy down a little. What's your best price? And I'll buy it. And he'd take $20 off. So I'm buying these cards for $60, $70, $80 because the seller needed the money and I had the money. But I traded my money for the Lemieux card. So everything's about fair trade. I go to the grocery store. You want $20 for chicken? No, that's too high. As I said, when we went to this Coney Island, they wanted $11.99 for an omelet. I said, "You, it's too high." I went to another Coney Island. It was $10. So I actually got one for $10. But normally I prefer my own omelets. They're made with olive oil and cayenne pepper and Celtic salt, and that tastes much better. So again, it's a fair trade. So is it a fair trade to give 111,000 for a Bitcoin? Does that seem like a fair trade to you? That's the question. So when do I think the fair? So that's July 1st. Luke, gold would have to go to 122,000 an ounce. That's 37 times from where it is now, or to be the same as when I started buying Bitcoin at 3,000. Okay. Well, why not 111? I'm assuming you bought gold cheaper than that. You bought Bitcoin at 3, you sold it, whatever, you made profit. That's the most important. Now you bought gold, and now you're going to make profit there. Will gold go to 122,000? I don't think so. I think it'll go much higher, but I think the dollar will be out. So gold will then get priced, I believe, in yuan in China, which is 7-1 to the US. So $1 buys you 7 yuan. I believe it'll go much higher, but not in dollars. And what's Bitcoin going to be? We know China's not pricing Bitcoin because you can't buy Bitcoin in China because the Chinese communists made it, and they know it's phony. So you can't buy it in China. Why not? Because it's not real. I was thinking about that with Madoff. Watching these things on Netflix and Tubi on Madoff, he wouldn't sell to some people. And you're going like, why wouldn't he sell to you? Why wouldn't he sell to this guy? Why wouldn't he sell to that guy? He was very selective who he'd sell to. Now it makes sense. He didn't want them to lose because he knew it was a Ponzi scheme. So if I'm running a Ponzi scheme and Luke, you say you want to get in, I said, no, Luke, no, you can't get in. And you'd be mad at me, but I can't tell you it's a Ponzi scheme. So I'm saving you from losing all your money, as all these people did, because it was a Ponzi scheme. So that's why he was selective, I assume, in selling to certain people, not others. Also, he sold to certain people he gave commission to if they brought in people. So that's another thing that Netflix never said. So well, gold's going to run, but the other part you're not seeing is versus the dollar going to zero. How do you factor that in? So this is what you could have made, but when the dollar goes out, you would have lost everything, and you can't lose everything in gold. So keep that in mind. So even Bitcoin at 100,000 is really worth zero. Gold at 50,000 is worth 50,000. It's actually worth more because when the dollar goes out, gold keeps its value. And we're not at that part of the game yet. We're in the first quarter. And Bitcoin played a good game last week and it went up a lot. But we got a whole game to play with gold. We're just starting. And that's what you've got to understand and realize. The game with gold is just beginning. They're just, as Egon says, they got to fill up the stadium. Well, it's still got 5% to go. It's got 95% to go, but it goes in 7 minutes, it fills. And that's where we're very close to. And with these tariffs and all these wars, we're very, very close. Wars are very expensive. The dollar is gone. Nobody understands inflation is printing the money. They all think inflation is prices. Well, I got news for you. The prices are going up also. If you go to the grocery store, the gas price is price fixed on Comex. That's why I can still buy it for $2.90 a gallon around here. And so it's holding, but Walmart's in trouble. McDonald's and those had to raise their prices. They can't compete now because nobody's going to spend $15 a person at McDonald's. I don't want to spend $15 a person at Coney Island, but I do. Roughly, I get a burger and a chili, and it's about $12. It's ridiculous. But what are you going to do? And I don't order anything with the burger. It doesn't come with anything. So that's why I go to the barbecue place. I can get a barbecue chicken with a salad and potato or fries and bread, which I don't like, but I get two things with my chicken for $14. And you want to go to McDonald's and compare it to the barbecue? Not a chance. So, and that's why I cook a lot. I can get 3 pounds of burger for $6 is $18. I get 2 burgers at McDonald's is $18, or let's say 3. I get 10. So I got 7. I'm ahead 7 burgers. So yeah, Luke, but look at the whole picture. The dollar is going to be zero, so the Bitcoin will be zero. You've escaped that. So that's kind of what you're missing. You're seeing one side of the coin. You're like Two-Face. You see the 111,000 and you're kind of going, fuck. But you didn't know it was going to 111. It was just 77 a couple of weeks ago. Well, what is it? 77 or 111? What's pushing it to 111? Oh, Larry Fink. Oh, well, the biggest scumbag in the world. So if it's 111, where does it go from here? Well, let's take a look. Where's it at? And then we'll talk baseball and basketball. All right. So, of course, we look at gold. Gold's at 32.95. Okay. Looks like going up. Silver, 33.03. Price fixed. Let's look at Bitcoin. And it's at 111,325. It hasn't done anything. So look at this chart. It went from 107 down to 77, and then 77 all the way up to 111. Does that any of it make sense? So where's it going from here? You have no idea because it's not real. The Montana rookie card and the Lemieux rookie card aren't going anywhere. They're staying at that price. They're going up. They're not going down because nobody's going to sell them for less than they bought them for. So that's Bitcoin for you, 111. And it's not real. I mean, that's the other thing. At least with the Montana card, you have the Montana card. You don't have a Bitcoin, right? There is no Bitcoin that you actually can hold and put in your hand. There's nothing that exists. You can't see it. You have no idea. Oh, there's 21 million of what? Air? I mean, that's ridiculous. So what would you do from that? But what we do know is Bitcoin will go to zero when the dollar goes out because it's priced in dollars. So if the dollar goes away, what's the Bitcoin? Without dollars, what's the Bitcoin value? Nothing. It's not real. You take the dollars away from gold. What's gold? Gold's worth the same value. It's probably worth more because that was priced in dollars. Now it's priced in gold. So the 3,300 in gold, you take the dollars away, it's probably worth more than 3,300. Because when that happens, everybody will be jumping into gold. So maybe you've got some people going into Bitcoin, probably because Larry Fink is telling you, oh, well, go into Bitcoin, don't go into gold. Again, the government doesn't want us in gold and silver, physical, because they can't track us. We are free people. We are out of the matrix with gold and silver. You're in the matrix with Bitcoin. So they're pushing you in that because it's not real. So when they pull the plug, everybody's going to get made off. Nobody's getting made off in gold and silver. So from that reason, it's a risk-free gold and silver. And instead of looking at the money won at this point, you look at the money not lost at this point. So when everything crashes, you're not going to lose anything. And that's the part of the equation that, Luke, you have the safety and the value. Okay, you didn't know it was going to 111. At 111, are you going to sell it? Probably not, because you're going to think, well, it's going to go to 200. It's going to go to 500. Is this going to keep going up? Unfortunately, it's not right. The Bitcoin will still be one Bitcoin. And what's a Bitcoin? What is it worth? Bitcoin has no value. I hear you, it's a one Bitcoin, but take the dollar away, and what is a Bitcoin? It's not real, right? There's no physical in the world we live in. There's no physical gold. There's no physical Bitcoin. I know that's from some movie, but that's Ocean's 12, where they're trying to get the guy at Amsterdam to raise the roof. So yes, it's worth one Bitcoin, but what's a Bitcoin? It's digital. It isn't real. So you don't have a value. You can say it's worth $111,000, but when the dollar's zero, so keep up with me. The dollar's now worth zero. What's Bitcoin? It's worth one Bitcoin. Okay, what is that worth? There is no Bitcoin value because it's not real. And you can't use it anywhere. You cannot. That's why I keep saying you can't go to the grocery store. You can't go to the restaurant. We meet in Toledo. You want to pay with Bitcoin? You can't. Not that we have any, but can I pay with gold? Absolutely. I went to the barbecue place. I says, "Would you take silver for the food?" He said, "Yeah." "Would you take Bitcoin?" He said, "No, it's not real." This is a owner of the barbecue place. Same thing at Toyota. I'm there getting my oil changed, and some guy starts talking to me about Bitcoin, and I says, "It's not real. Tell me what it looks like. Show me what it looks like." "Well, you can't. It's not real." So we go to the sales manager. Can I give you gold for the car? Yes. Can I give you Bitcoin for the car? No. So at what point is Bitcoin's not money? So what is the value of it? I know you're saying when Bitcoin's a Bitcoin. What is a Bitcoin? It's not even real. It's nothing. So this is the point. Yes, it's easy to look at it and it's worth 111,000 and you're going, "Oh, great." But it's not a Rolex. I got expensive Rolexes in my eBay. I didn't buy any, but there are $800,000 for a Rolex. That'll go to zero in dollars and that. So why don't you want a Rolex instead of a Bitcoin? Is a Rolex going to go up? Probably. Uh, it's really no difference a Bitcoin and a Rolex, or a Bitcoin and the Lemieux card or the Aaron card or the Mickey Mantle card. They're collectibles. They have a value because there's a market for them. There's a market for Bitcoin, which we don't understand, and it goes up and down, which we don't understand. That's what it is. Now, is it to get out of, is Trump pushing it up with the Fed to get the price high enough to pay off the debt? Maybe. Who are you going to give it to? I mean, we're the crypto capital, or what does that mean? We're a bunch of losers here because we have something that's not real. It's not worth anything. Just like OneCoin, they did the OneCoin Ponzi scheme. That lady, the Russian lady, and now she's dead because I don't really have any OneCoin. It's not real, and all these people paid into it. That's what Bitcoin is. It's not real. How can it be real? There is nothing there. You can't see it or hold it. Yes, it's worth 111 because people are propping it up. I get it. I'm not buying it. If I have 111,000, I'm buying gold because I know I have something. I want to have it in my hands. I'd rather buy the Montana rookie for 111 than a Bitcoin. Well, Bitcoin's going to go up in price. You don't know that. Why? It's not supply and demand as you want to make it sound like. It's not. That's not what it is, unfortunately. Bitcoin is a weird concept, however. It's been taking the place of what gold does or what it should do. The price fluctuations with a decreasing dollar and all other currencies. Yeah. So it's just not free market. And that's really the bottom line. And we don't know why it's 111. We don't know where it's going. If this is 111, we know we're fine, right? We know this is just going to keep going up because nobody's going to sell a Lemieux rookie card, and we have it in our hands. See, that's the other thing. You have it in your hand, gold in your hands. You can have money in your hands, but Bitcoin, you can't see it or put it in your hand or put it in your safe. And to think it's real, it's just insanity. So they're making this sounds like Little Red Riding Hood. I was watching the on Mystic Magic. I love that, and they say what it's really about, right? It's really about trust and people using their instincts and stuff like that. And the wolf eats the grandmother, and that's what it's kind of like. Because Red Riding Hood's knocking on the door, and they're going, "Come on in," and that's what Bitcoin is. Come on in. Yeah, it's fine. Come on in. But what I'm trying to be is the common sense. I'm trying to say, but it's not real. If you can't see what it looks like and hold it, how can it be real? Well, it's digital. Okay, well, what does that mean? That doesn't make it real. Oh, but it's 111,000. Well, what's 77? Which one's right? Well, it's 111 now. Okay, you're going to sell it now? No, it's going to keep going up. Why? Well, I don't know. Not from demand. How many people have 111,000 to buy a Bitcoin? Nobody. If you got 111,000, you should be buying gold and silver. Anyway, so this girl I'm talking to says she's doing some medical stuff, and I go, "Do you know what the market is?" She says the U.S. I said, "No, that's not what I mean, but okay." Then what's the price? Well, I don't know. Well, how do you know you're going into a business? What the competition's selling the things for? What is your cost? What is your market? And your competition? And she doesn't know any of this. I'm like, I was just shaking my head. It's like, you got to be kidding. Those are the main components of business, right? How much is it going to cost me and what can I sell it for? Number one, who's in my market, like baseball cards or whatever? Oh, tops, upper deck. And what's the selling? What's it going for? So, can I make the product cheap enough to sell it in the marketplace? And she doesn't understand. I got other people helping me on it. I mean, you shouldn't be running a company that you don't know what you're doing. And that's what she is with Bitcoin. She doesn't know what she's doing. She got some guy from Bear Stearns or something to help her, and using I guess algorithms or whatever they're using, some template. And I go, well, they're not going to have the variables. People think that algorithms are good. As I point out in football, there's no variables are changing. There's now bricks. Are you factoring that in? Are you factoring in there's Bitcoin? Are you factoring everything in? Probably not. Profit. The fiat currencies aren't real either. That's why we have to stock up on gold. Exactly. Gold is real. You can see it, hold it in your hand, right? Now, the fiat, you can, sorry, Profit, I don't have Canadian currency. This is real in the sense you can touch it and see what it looks like. It's what you really are meaning. It has no value. It has a 5 on it and some Greek temple, maybe Apollo or Zeus, but there's no value to this. The 5 is valueless. That's what you really mean. And the one on this is really valueless. It doesn't. It's worth $1, but what is $1 worth? And that's what you're trying to say. They are real. They just don't have a value. That's how you got to say it, because you can see it, right? I can say I have a euro. This is real. It's a €5, so it is real, but it's not. It's the 5 on the euro is worthless. All right. Let's get into baseball. Let's look what we did yesterday. I had a bad early day. Let's hope I did better in the evening. Minnesota over 7.5, wins 6-5. Pitt 3-1, under 8 to winner. Houston, I played over Tampa. Hunter Brown with his 6-1 record is now 6-3 with a 2.04 ERA, and he gives up 8 runs, and Tampa wins 8-4. How did that happen, right? The ace gives up 8 runs. To Tampa, who doesn't score a lot, we got the Cubs 2-1. I had the Cubs over 9 with Miami. 2 good hitting teams, and yet they didn't hit. I played Milwaukee under 8. Baltimore won 8-4. Again, you get caught into what they did the last few days or the last series, but you're at a different ballpark facing different pitching, and that's really the key to it. Detroit wins 5-1. I go over with St. Louis because of 2 weak pitchers, but it went 5. Detroit scored 5. St. Louis scored 11 before and got 1 yesterday. So it was a frustrating day. Seattle, the White Sox. I had the White Sox under 8 and 6-5 Seattle. It was like, wow. Minnesota over 7.5. Oh, we already talked about it. KC and the 49ers. I have the Niners. They lose 8-4. Cleveland 5, Minnesota 1. No, that was game 2. I don't think I played that. The Mets in Boston. I have Boston under 8. That's a winner, 5-1. The Yankees in Texas. I played Texas. The Yankees win 4-3. San Diego over 8.5 wins. They lose 14-0. but they scored more than 8.5. Then I got Philly. Philly wins. That was my 3 unit. I have Oakland, and California wins 10-5. That's a loser. I got Arizona under 9, and Arizona under 9 wins. I was going to take Arizona with Corbin Burns, and then I switched to the under because I said I can't trust him. And it was a 3-1 game. So I did pretty good at the back half. And my picks were terrible. I had Houston losing, the Cubs over 9 losing, White Sox under 8.5 losing. Atlanta was postponed. Texas lost. Philly wins. Oakland loses, and Arizona under 9 wins. So not my finest effort. Basketball. Indy beats the Knicks. Apparently, the Knicks were way up, and Indy wins in overtime, 138-135. Now, this is a big bet here. Indy, the guy shows a choke sign, and he says they choked. That's not going to be good for Indy. You don't fuck around like that. Profit. It has no value because we aren't on the gold standard any longer. Well, it has no value because it's been printed to death. All these guys keep printing because the Keynesians are in charge, and they go keep printing, and they keep expanding government, and they want government spending. Well, means you got to print more dollars. Well, if you keep printing them, they don't have a value. That's the problem with big government and centralized planning and printing the dollar. That's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to keep it limited. That's why they have no value. But every country is the same. They all have the central bank printing, and now the U.S. wants everybody to buy military. Saudi Arabia, buy $1 trillion in military. And Qatar, buy military. So they want everybody to buy military because the military defense is running the U.S. And so therefore, that's what you have. So that's the problem. The military is running everything. And so he goes to these countries. The CIA thinks having a war gets you out of a recession. They're out of their minds because they don't even understand what inflation is. The war, on one hand, it does add jobs to the defense manufacturer, but who pays for the weapons? Nobody can afford them. 40 million for a tank. Yeah, there's not a big line for that. Where are you getting that money from? So somebody's printing money, and you got to put it in the U.S. dollars, which is inflation. So they think if we have a war, the defense contractors work and they pay taxes, and the whole thing is just beyond stupid. All right, so yesterday we saw Indy beats the Knicks, so we'll take game 2. We'll take the Knicks tonight. Oklahoma City is 1 up on Minnesota. Oklahoma City 7.5, 217. Oklahoma City's 68-14, and Minnie's 49. I think I like Oklahoma City tonight, laying the 7.5. I think they found their game, and I never heard of this guy who was like the MVP of the league. Never heard of him. So if he's that good, I'll lay the 7.5. They want to go up 2-0, and then going to Minnesota, we'll bet Minnesota game 3. So that's how we look at it. So go Oklahoma City tonight. All right, let's go back to baseball today. Prophet, what the hell happened to the Knicks last night? I don't know. I guess they did choke. I don't know the score. They were up, and Indy came back. I don't know what the score was. All right, 12:35. So you got 10 minutes. We got Texas and the Yankees. We got Evaldi for Texas, really good. 4-2 with the 1.61. Carlos Rodon, who sucks. We'll try to take Texas again. This is what we had yesterday, a good pitcher against the bum, and total is 7. I'm not going to play under 7 in Yankee Stadium. Not with Aaron Judge. It's hard to play him under. 107, San Diego and Toronto. There you go, Prophet. A Toronto game. No, there's no more Montreal. The Alouettes, the Expos. You can't hold a team except for the Canadians. San Diego 120-9. Stephen Kolek 2-1 with the 2.33 against Bowden Francis 2-6 with the 5.63. Uh, San Diego won or Toronto won 14-0 yesterday. I don't know what to do. Um, let's see. The total is 9. Stephen Kolek, probably a reliever. Um, no, he's not. 5, 9, and 5. So he was injured and he's coming back. So he's uh, yeah, let's go over on this game. Let's go Toronto over 9. Philly, Colorado. Philly minus 300, 11.5. Colorado's 8-41. Ranger Suarez 2-0 with the 509 against German Marquez. All right, so we're gonna take this over. Philly over 11.5. Only because it's hard to lay 300. I'll go 2 units on that. California and Oakland. California is hot. They swept the Dodgers. They beat Oakland. Oakland's been hot, 130, 10.5. High scoring game. Tyler Anderson, 2-1 with the 304. Luis Servino, 1-4 at the 4.22. Let's go, California. They've been hot. Milwaukee, Pittsburgh. Milwaukee minus 120-9. I don't have pitchers. I can't go. Cleveland at Detroit. Detroit minus 130-8. Tanner Bibby, 3-4 at the 406 against Joe Flaherty, 2-5 with the 444. This looks like an over. I keep going over, and they're not. The other team's not hitting for me. St. Louis didn't hit. So I'm going to go Detroit over 8 again and just see what happens. And I'm not going to bet it, but I'm going to go over. Detroit's been hitting, and they should hit. They should get 4 or 5 runs. The question is, what will Cleveland do? Does Cleveland have any hitting? Cleveland supposedly has 5 hitters. I got to go through that again. It seems like it depends on the lineup. If it's a righty lefty, it depends. These guys have a hot streak or a cold streak, and they go from 280 to 230 and 230 to 280. So when I think I don't have, I got good hitters, and then I don't anymore. I think I have bad hitters, and now they're good hitters. So I gotta keep up on that a little quicker until we get far enough in where the average isn't going to change much. So we're going over Cleveland, Detroit, Atlanta, Washington. Atlanta 155-8.5 again. Penix against Daniels. AJ Smith Sawyer 3-2 with a 2.33. Trevor Williams 2-5 with a 5. We're going to go Atlanta here, and we'll go 2 units. What do we have yesterday? Oh, Atlanta was postponed. Okay. Baltimore at Boston. We've got Boston minus 130-8 in Boston. Kate Povich, 1-3 with the 5.23. Louis Giolante, 1-1 with the 7.08. The total is only 8. Well, I'm going over. So let's go Boston over 8, and we'll go 2 units on that. It's in Fenway and 2 terrible pitchers. In the last game, Seattle at Houston. Seattle 135, 8.5. George Kirby 0-0 with an 0-0. Lance McCullough 0-1 with the 7.88. I know he used to be a good starter. He probably got hurt. He pitched 3 innings of shutout ball. A tenth of an inning against Cincinnati, gave up 7 runs. And then against Texas, 4 innings, gave up 2 runs. So doesn't pitch a lot, so I'm not playing stock in Houston here. George Kirby. $15 DL, but now he's starting. So he hasn't pitched at all this year. So both pitchers won't go long. So I can't. How can you take Seattle? They haven't played Houston. I'm just going to go over 8.5. figuring both pitchers won't do anything, but I'm not going to bet it. So again, Texas, which is starting now, you've got Toronto over 9, Philly over 11 and a half, 2 units, Cal, Detroit over 8, Atlanta 2 units, Boston over 8, 2 units, Houston over 8.5. So the three bets: Philly over 11 and a half, Atlanta and Boston over 8. Basketball, we're going to go with Oklahoma City again. Just to do that. They're up 1-0, but when you get towards the finals, it's a little bit more. Now there is backs against the wall, but we're going to do that. All right, let's take a look at some videos. All right. Let's see what video I want to show. I don't get this. Ukraine ceasefire never. How are they even? They don't have any men or weapons. This is so stupid. It's the dumbest war I've ever seen. If you got any blood clot questions, I will watch this for you. Just put castor oil on everything. Let's see. So I showed you the line in Saudi Arabia that's bankrupting them. Then we've got Canada to cut oil, U.S. cheap crude. So they're sending it to Canada, to China, as we had talked about. We don't really need to watch this. government fueled fires. They're talking about California, where uh, they didn't they didn't let everything go through, so they caused that. Um, I did watch The Big Short. Which, see, we're kind of repeating The Big Short. So, how could the housing market go? And everybody's laughing at them. How could the housing? Who doesn't pay their mortgage? People that can't afford the mortgage. You've allowed people in who can't afford it. So this is my whole Bitcoin contention. It's not real. So this is why you must understand it. We understand it's not real, the Bitcoin. We do understand gold and silver are real. And more importantly, we understand what's happening to money. We know that's real. So therefore, this is the whole point of it. Uh, you must understand Bitcoin's not real and the dollars are collapsing. So as soon as you grasp that, so I caught it when Biden started spending $5 trillion. I said, well, I got to get out of the dollar. It's worthless. But I said, where can I go? And I knew I couldn't go into another dollar. That was not going to help. So once I understood that don't go into the euro or the yuan or the yen, I knew I had to go into gold and silver was the only available lifeboat to go into. That's what's so beautiful of it. It's the only thing you can go into. So everybody has to go into it. And they're trying to like scam everybody that Bitcoin's where to go. Look at Bitcoin's price. And that's the mirage. Bitcoin at 111,000 is not the real price of it. We don't know the real price. Nothing goes from 100 to 70 to 100. And which price is it? And it's not money. It's just a collectible, and I don't want to, get into that collectible. But that's really what's happening. So you must understand that's why we got into gold. But it's just like The Big Short. Everybody's laughing. How can you short the housing market? Because you're giving loans out of people that can't afford it. That's why. And you're calling these things AAA or AA rated that are not that strong. I don't know how to read a bond, but that's what Batman did. He read the bonds. Oh, these bonds are bad. Well, hell, if he would have understood, he'd have been in that in 1997. He'd have been in that. Now here's a joke. Trump threatens BRICS with 150% tariff if they, well, I think what he's trying to say, if they go to the gold standard. And guess what? They're going to the gold standard because they just won't deal with the dollar. Oh, sorry, we only deal with gold. China doesn't need the US. They can sell to other countries, right? The US needs China more than China needs the US because the US cannot buy these things anywhere else. They can only buy these things from China. They make the chips, they make the Nikes and the iPhones and all that. That's who makes it. So they can't do anything outside of that. But China can sell to other countries, Russia, India, Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is really fucked. They don't know what they're doing. They're like Tesla. They're building this wall, but there's no demand for it. Is there that many people that want to live in a wall? Probably not. And that's the problem. And how do you get to the city, or that's your city? And it just sounds stupid. And then there's the culture, and I want to live in a nice house. I want my privacy. And you're not, you're in a wall, in a glass wall. I mean, who wants that? So I just think that's a big mistake. There's no demand for it. But that's what they're wasting all their money on, that trillions of dollars for nothing. So Saudi's in big trouble, and we'll see. But all the other dollars are worthless. Keep that in mind. See, that's the most important. And I'll keep harping on that. You've got to realize that. So Trump with his tariffs, that's just bullshit. Now you can't trust Trump. We're going to tariff you. Oh, well, let's back off. We're going to do this, and we're going to have gold. We're going to audit gold. Well, maybe not. So he talks out of both sides of his mouth. Let's see. Well, I think that's it. I don't really have a lot of videos. Most of them I've showed you. Any other questions, comments? Let me know. Let's end it. So go over baseball again. Texas, Toronto over 9, Philly over 11.5, California, Detroit over 8, Atlanta, Boston over 8, and Houston over 8.5. The plays, Philly over 11.5, 2 units, Atlanta 2, and Boston over 8, 2. Those are your plays. And let's see. The market is at Marcus 41.9 up $64. Good luck on that. Gold is at 32.99 at 1240. So it should go over 3,300, but we've been there, so that's already broke that. Silver 33.05. They're not going to let it stay. This is what you must understand about silver. Be patient. It will go once Basel III hits July 1st. Now they can play these derivatives. People asking for delivery, they just don't deliver to them. And that's the problem, right? There's no delivery, so you can't. So even if they do buy it, the price isn't going because the price does. It's derivatives, not it's options, not free market. So silver doesn't move. Now, so the question is silver going to a free market? Gold's going to one with bricks. Is silver going along with it? And the answer is yes, because silver, gold will get so expensive, you'll go to silver. Now, Bitcoin at 111 is just a fantasy. Who's buying it at 111? It ain't the average Joe, I'll tell you that. Me and you aren't buying Bitcoin at 111. I hear you bought it at $5,000. You bought it at 25 cents. I hear all those stories, but you're not buying Bitcoin at 111. There's not a lot of Bitcoin being sold. So what the hell is going on? And that's the ETF buying it, and I think it triggers. So I think people are jumping into ETFs who don't know anything about ETFs, who should not be in ETFs, and that's happening. Anyway, I think that's about it. So again, look for gold, 3,500, 4,500 soon. It just takes its little stair steps. Mark McGuire, I think, has the stupid guest on tomorrow, so it's going to be hard to watch. The guests are always so stupid. And not what we want to watch. We want to hear what's going on. So right now I'm getting to the point where I fast forward to when Mark talks. And then when the guest talks, I fast forward that to when Mark talks again. So he's got to be losing audience with these idiots. Oh, it's by popular demand. Who the fuck's demanding it? And now he's doing these phone calls where the phone rings. You're like, hey, God, Mark, what are you doing? But there's always Egon. Egon's on Twitter. I follow him, so he tells a lot. But when Matthew's on, he's an idiot. Don't listen. Anyway, you can't go wrong with gold and silver because being price fixed now will soon go to the free market, and it's you can't print it, which is why they price fix it. They want to keep the price down to keep the demand away, but the demand's there with all the central banks anyway. Anything else? Lucas, see you in Toledo. Let me know. Send me an email. It's fine. and Prophet. Yeah, the Knicks and that and that. So basically, I think we covered it all. I apologize. The first video, again, I lose the internet after 35 minutes. There's nothing I can do. I try to wait a little bit because if it comes back on, I think I'm okay. But it was a couple of minutes. I said, well, that's ridiculous. So anyway, have a great day. I'm so happy I heard from Daria, although I'm not happy she's a little bit sick. Her operation's tomorrow on that sore or whatever she has in her mouth. She's scared, which is what she does. She's a very, she's scared of a lot of stuff. Growing up in Russia, I'm not surprised. Um, I think that's one of the reasons we haven't met yet is she gets scared. I don't think she's scared to meet me. I think she's scared because the war's still going on. She says, when the war is over, we'll meet. I'm like, well, let's meet now. I can't. What if the war doesn't end? What if it never ends? So we'll see. Anyway, have a good day. www.teaserking.com. Okay, everybody, take care. Be good.